Jon Gordon, our first ever guest speaker on Inspired Business. Welcome once again, and thank you so much for joining us today, Jon.
Oscar, thanks for having me. I'm honored to be with you all.
Well, we've covered so much ground in the first three episodes, talking about how do you lead in challenging times. Also, how do you lead remote teams versus when in person? Also, how do you keep the perfect client experience? And we have received so much great responses from presumably our small business owner community that have seen the series under Truist.com. And one of the things is, obviously, although we filmed these videos a few months ago, it feels like a lot longer. And therefore, given where we were then versus where we are now, I just wanted to get your thoughts. Leadership in small business ownership is now more important than ever. Wouldn't you agree?
I would agree with that 100%. Leadership is not just one thing, leadership is everything. And we need great leadership to get through challenging times. Leaders show the way, leaders find a way. Leaders don't let obstacles get in the way. But we don't just need leadership, we need positive leadership that's able to rally their team towards a brighter and better future so that they can create it together. And you can see right now the leaders that are doing a great job of leading their teams, their organizations, even at the highest levels of our country. And you can see those who are falling short. So it's all about great leadership right now to lead people through this difficult time.
Well, Jon, you are a small business owner, and our viewers have been wanting to know about how you personally have been handling your own business under these challenging times. Would you mind talking to us a little bit about that?
I'm glad you asked me that because you have to be able to walk the walk, not just talk the talk. And it has been a challenge, though. I want people to know it's been a challenge for me, for my team, my family. When COVID first hit, we were shook like a lot of people. And I honestly got a little negative, even though my work is all about positivity. And I said to myself, is this going to help me create my future? Is this going to help me help others create their future? I knew I needed to turn it around. And so, although we've lost a lot of business, we've lost a lot of revenue because my job is speaking to companies all around the country and around the world, and that's not happening. I knew that I had to continue doing this work, continue to make a difference, continue to find a way to serve and to help others and to do this work. And so although it's hurt our business, at the same time, we're still doing our business. We're still surviving. We're getting by. And we're also, in many ways, though, I have to say, adapting and growing. We've added a virtual leadership component to what we do. We've added a coaching program to what we do. So we've adapted, we've innovated, and everything we've created now is something we're actually going to do and use going forward, even when physical events come back. So I truly believe we've grown stronger from this. We've gotten better because of this. And we're now wiser because of this. So we really took our own advice and said, how can we learn from this? How can we grow from this? And how can we get better? And while we've lost a lot of business, I'm going to be very honest about that. We at the same time did not allow that to bring us down. We kept moving forward knowing that we had to survive. We had to advance. We had to innovate. And on the other side of this, we really believe that we're going to thrive because of it.
Following up a little bit on that, Jon, we have heard before in a different episode that you're not an optimist by nature. So the question that I must ask is, how have you figured out a way to find that path to optimism even in these challenging times?
Totally. So I received this great advice from a Navy SEAL named Chad Wright. He said, Jon, a lot of guys don't make it through Hell Week trying to be a Navy SEAL because they're longing for it to be over. They're dreaming for it to end. The ones who make it are the ones who want to just make it to breakfast, who just make it to midday, who say, I'm just going to make it to breakfast again. They're focused on the moment. They're focused on winning the day. So that became my motto. Like my motto became win today. Like don't worry about tomorrow, Jon. Just win today. Show up, work hard, serve others, stay positive, make a difference. Do that every single day. Win today. And if you win today, you will create the future. I have a good friend who owns a restaurant chain, and it's a popular chain. I can't tell you what it is, but he told me that he applied that win today concept after hearing me talk about it to his company. They're at 83% of their pre-COVID sales, which is pretty amazing in the restaurant business to be 83% of your sales. And they're surviving, they're doing well, but they're focusing on winning today every day. And he said that mindset has been a game changer. And that's what I had to do to stay positive every single day.
Talk to me now, John, a little bit about the people that surround you. Tell me a few words in regards to how they have contributed to your success and the success of your business in these challenging times.
Well, my wife, first and foremost, was really supportive, and she was very positive when I found myself at first going negative. So she definitely lifted me up. Having the right team around you is everything. No one creates success alone. We all need a team to be successful. We're better together. We would not have had the ability to get through this challenging time without the team I had around me. They really came together and they led in a lot of ways. They formed a group that met every single week, and we invited all of the team members to join us, and we got together every week. And to be honest, there was prayer involved every single week. And that really brought this team together. We're so much stronger now because of this time.
That's great. So, John, now we have some questions here from our viewers. And the first question that we have is from Matthew Sullivan. Matthew is the CEO of BES Cleaning. And he asked, John, is there a past experience in your career that you look back on as an example for others to look at and believe that they themselves can make it through their own toughest moments?
Definitely. I could share an experience that happened many years ago. I lost my job during the dot-com crash. It was the most terrifying time of my life. Didn't know how I was going to pay the bills, no insurance for the kids. It was a really scary time. But it was during that time that my faith was born. I also, right after that, had a restaurant opening. I decided to second mortgage our home, $20,000 in credit cards to basically open up this restaurant. It was a Moe's Southwest Grill franchise. And so it wasn't going well, didn't know how we were going to survive, but somehow, some way, we kept promoting the business. We kept showing up. We were breaking even the day after that. I remember I had my Jerry Maguire moment where I was like, show me the money, God, show me the money, because we were really struggling, but we made it through. Like, we just made it through with a lot of faith, a lot of hard work. And I'll never forget that time. It was the most fearful time of my life, but it was also one of the most faithful, one of the most special times, because I saw the hard work, I saw the faith, I saw the optimism, I saw the belief, I saw my wife stick together through that time, and we made it through it. And so when I speak about this, when I talk about positive leadership and getting through tough times, I am speaking from experience. I have lived it. I came out on the other side of it better because of it. So when this hit, when we experienced this time, I was ready for it because I had been through it during the past time. Now, when I lost my job during the dot-com crash, I went very negative. But then with opening the restaurant and finding faith, I found a new beginning for my life. I found this career that I'm meant to write and speak. And so I would say everything that happened during that time led me to this time. So I hope that gives people hope, because if I can get through it, I know that they can too.
Great. Thanks so much for that. John, another question from a business owner, Louis Geraslo, and he's a co-owner and winemaker at Elkin Creek Winery. And Louis asks, John, as you know, COVID's impact is overwhelming at best. As business owners, we have had to reduce our workforce, take on more routine tasks ourselves due to decreased sales. We're exhausted. There's no real end in sight. How do we keep our excitement and engagement through repetitive tasks and long schedule and with little to no breaks or vacation?
There are going to be days that we don't feel very positive. We are tired. We are burned out. That's where we need to bring our purpose to the forefront. We don't get burned out because of what we do. We get burned out because we forget why we do it. Remember your purpose. Focus on that. Let that drive your optimism. Let that drive your passion. Yes, it's hard, but we will do whatever it takes for our business and for our family. And right now, you have to do whatever it takes. You have to work more hours. You have to give more. I was doing that with the restaurant that I just talked about. My wife and I, we were flyering neighborhoods. We were flyering movie theaters. We were knocking on doors, selling catering. You will do whatever it takes when your family's future is on the line. We had 2 small children. As I said, we second mortgaged our home, and looking back, there were no vacations, there were no breaks. And I know that this time is hard, but you do it with the purpose, knowing that you will get through this, that this too shall pass. This is not forever. It's a difficult season right now. But the seeds we plant today and the hard work we do today will actually produce a harvest in the future. But we just have to make sure that we're planting those seeds every single day. And that will lead to growth. So I hope that encourages you along the way. I know it's challenging. I know it's okay to not be okay. We're going to have days where we don't feel okay, but we pick ourselves back up each day with that purpose and that hope for the future. And then we work every day to create it. As I said, this is not just words. I lived it. And right now we have to do the work, but that work will produce success in the future. Know that and believe it.
I've heard in the past that when change comes, most people are really not that concerned about the change. Many times they understand why the change needs to happen. The part that many struggle is with the fear of losing something created by that change. And therefore, I wanted to ask you and get your thoughts around how do we manage that sense of fear that sometimes it's overwhelming and quite honestly paralyzing. And how do we actually go about managing that ourselves?
Well, it is normal to be afraid. It is normal to feel fear. But great leaders don't lead with fear, they lead with faith. And they understand that their team, their people, their clients are afraid and full of fear. And then they lead them with faith. They inspire them with belief and optimism and faith and hope. So I kept telling my team and also posting on Twitter, I'm not buying the doom and gloom. I'm investing in faith, hope, and love. And every time I would post that, I would get like thousands of likes and retweets. And people seem to need to hear this message more than ever. Because what do fear and faith have in common? They both believe in a future that hasn't happened yet. So fear believes in a negative future. Faith believes in a positive future. And if neither has happened yet, why wouldn't we choose to believe in the positive future? Why wouldn't we choose to believe that our best days are ahead of us, not behind us? And so as a leader, you want to lead with that faith instead of fear, but understanding that people are feeling the fear. Understand it, empathize, and then lead them to a more positive, hopeful story, knowing that it's possible. And that's how we're going to create success. If you're fearful and you get paralyzed by fear, you will never be able to create the success that is available to you. But if you have the faith and you have the possibility to create a brighter and better future, I truly believe through hard work, you will. So it's the faith that keeps us going. It's more important than ever. We need to lead with it. We need to understand that it's the way we counter the fear that we feel. And also, don't forget love too, because love casts out fear. So if you love it, you won't fear it. So anytime you start to get fearful, I've had to do this. I focus on the love of my clients, the love of the work that I'm doing, the love of my family, and the love of life, right? There is a risk in living life. There always is going to be a risk of living life. But when we focus on the love of it, it's amazing how fear dissipates. And I'm not talking about, not being smart. I'm not talking about not being cautious. We have to be cautious. We have to be smart. But we should not allow fear to sabotage the life that we are meant to live. And right now, those who are faithful, who work hard, they will be the ones who are successful. And they'll lead their teams in a more positive way. And they'll lead them to more success in the future.
So, Jon, before we close out, any last thoughts? I'm going to turn it over to you to see what you have to share with us.
Well, I think what we've seen in the country during this time is that we do need to include everyone and bring everyone to the table to be able to have influence. And we have to hear and listen to a diverse group of thought, a diverse group of ways of doing things. We have to be open to the possibilities of improving our country in so many ways. We need to have new thought and new ways of doing things. And the way you do that is by bringing people together. And so I'm really big on inclusion and inclusiveness, where everyone feels like they are part of the solution. They are valued. They can contribute to the solution. They are part of the team. And as a member of the team, they get to have a say in what is done and how it's done, and they feel valued because of their contribution, and also, even more importantly, who they truly are. So inclusiveness is about valuing people, recognizing them, and valuing their contribution, and how they can contribute to the team to make it better. So as leaders, we need to value everyone, we need to include everyone, and we need to bring everyone to the table to be part of a team to create a successful team.
Jon, thank you once again for sharing with us your insights, your expertise with our Truist clients, our small business community during these unbelievably challenging times. Thank you so much once again for joining us on Inspire Business.
Thank you for having me. I loved being with you all.